This is 17 News with continuing coronavirus coverage.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Nicole Gitsky. Governor Gavin Newsom is streaming live every day at noon to give an update on the coronavirus crisis here in our state. Today, he's talking about the state's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We'll bring him to you as soon as he becomes available. Well, now to the latest on the coronavirus here in Kern County. New numbers were just dropped just hours ago. There are 16 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, now a total of 708 confirmed cases. 4 people have died from COVID complications, 26 people are in the hospital, and 327 people have made full recoveries. Over 5,000 tests have been negative. Over 3,600 test results are pending. The resident at the mission at Kern County has tested positive for COVID-19. Executive Director Carlos Bolivinos tells 17 News that a male resident of the homeless shelter just off Baker Street tested positive Monday night. That unidentified man becomes the first patient at the county's makeshift coronavirus ward at the Kern County Fairgrounds. The county purchased 15 new RVs and set them up in northwest corner of the fairgrounds specifically to handle homeless people who test positive. Baldovinos tells 17 News that the man was exhibiting symptoms and the staff took his temperature on Saturday.
So he tested with a fever and 101.5. So we called the healthcare professionals, and he was they took him by ambulance over to a hospital. And then Monday evening, late Monday evening, we received notification that this individual had tested positive for COVID-19. And so one of the positive things I can tell you, he's on the mend.
Now, homeless shelters are especially problematic because of the close quarters, which makes social distancing all the more difficult. The Bakersfield Homeless Center, about a mile south of the mission, has not yet had a positive case. And as Homeless Center Director Louis Gill says, they're doing all they can to keep it that way, including cleaning surfaces, encouraging hand washing, and taking temperatures.
We have changed our operations in many ways. First and foremost, we have closed the gates on the front of the campus so that people just can't walk on and off. We've hired 2 people to be at those gates all day. So if you're coming on campus, you're either staying with us or you're an employee.
Gill says the Homeless Center has suspended its practice of inviting members of the community to come in for lunch in the center's dining hall until further notice. Balvino says the mission has taken similar steps with volunteers and donors. Well, local Starbucks has temporarily closed its doors after one of its employees was diagnosed with COVID-19 last week. A spokesperson for Starbucks says the employee works at the Starbucks at Stockdale Highway and Allen Road. The worker got the coronavirus but was asymptomatic and is now self-isolating at home. The company says once it learned about the diagnosis, the store was closed so a deep cleaning could be done. Other employees who were in contact with the affected worker are also in a recommended 14-day self-isolation. The store plans to reopen tomorrow. And an employee at the Love's Travel stop in Los Hills has tested positive for COVID-19. That's according to a spokeswoman for the business. She says the company hired a professional cleaning team to disinfect the store and have told any other employees who may have been in contact with that infected person to self-quarantine for 14 days or until cleared by a doctor. She said the dining rooms at Love's Travel stops have been closed to comply with government mandates, and they're offering food for drive-through and carry-out only. An employee for the wonderful company has tested positive. Spokesperson says they are isolating at home. They're also cleaning and disinfecting the entire facility and screening all employees for signs of illness. They also are continuing safety and social distancing practices. Well, organizers for the Lightning in a Bottle Festival started a GoFundMe page to help cover costs from canceling the festival. A month ago, the music festival had to be called off because of the coronavirus pandemic. According to LIB, ticket purchasers can opt into a refund pool or transfer their tickets to a later year, or they can gift their ticket to the event in hopes to offset the burden of the costs ahead. They're concerned about financial hardships as they work to collect funds to cover costs. LIB has set their GoFundMe goal at $250,000, and at last check, they have raised over $22,000. Well, one of the new testing sites is coming to East Bakersfield. 5th District Supervisor Leticia Perez made that announcement yesterday following the governor's update. People will be able to receive free tests at the Richard Prado Senior Center on Mount Vernon Avenue and Ridge Road. That's near Kern Medical Center and East High School. Supervisor Perez joined us on Zoom for an interview last night. She says her district is densely populated and under-resourced.
We are service workers, farm workers, frontline workers, as you know, first responders, and a lot of those folks do not have access or ability to test and haven't really been given a clear story about what to do.
Data shows Latino and Black communities across the country have been hit the hardest by the virus. Perez says people who are tested can maintain social distancing, will not have to leave their cars. Then they will get their results sent to their phone within 24 to 48 hours. They hope to have the facility up and running and testing by April 30th. Well, happening today, the McFarland City Council will listen to public testimony on the proposal to open 2 geo-immigration detention facilities. Now, you may remember earlier this week, protesters in McFarland held a car caravan demonstration against that proposal. In late February, the McFarland Planning Commission ruled against GEO's group's plans to convert 2 prisons into immigration detention facilities. Now, the company has filed an appeal, which is being heard today. Critics say the detention centers will create fear among Kern County's immigration population. Supporters say GEO groups will bring much-needed jobs to the area. And today, if you're missing the movie theater experience, you're in luck. Starting today, Reading Cinema and Uber Eats are teaming up to provide the movie-like experience from the comfort of your home. Through the Reading Cinema's Eats at Home program, guests can order cinema favorites and have them delivered to their house to complete their at-home movie experience. So, what's on the menu? Everything from popcorn to burgers, green beans, fries, and fresh-baked cookies. The program is available 7 days a week through the Uber Eats app or for delivery, or you can pick it up curbside at the Reading Cinemas. And a local elementary school receives a special Earth Day honor. Earth Day was yesterday, and to celebrate, McKinley Elementary School was named California Green Ribbon School. That means the school is being honored for its achievements in going green. It's the first school in Kern County to receive such an award. At the McKinley Farm, students grow, prepare, and later cook their own produce. Students learn sustainable agricultural, organic farming, and use of green technologies. We'll stay with 17 News. We're back after this.
Good afternoon, everyone, and it is Thursday, and we are talking weather. On the forecast, we've got plenty of sunshine around the area. Temperatures are starting to warm up here. Right now, out in Arvin, we're at 73 degrees. A few clouds in the distance, but that's all we're seeing right now. And then we take a look at Wasco. Also a nice afternoon. We've got plenty of sunshine, 75 degrees out that way. Up in the mountains, Frazier Park, you are in the clear, and 66. And Golden Hills, a few clouds, as you can see, pushing through, and 61. Here's a look at Bakersfield. We sit at 74 degrees right now under a calm wind. And here's a look at other temperatures to start off here at the noon hour. We've got 70s all around the valley, and then up in the mountains, 60s, 70s in the Kern River Valley, and already we're at 83 in Ridgecrest. Satellite radar for the state, mainly clear skies from the north to the south along the coast, and that's the way it's going to be. And you can see temperatures a little warmer today around the state. 74 in Sacramento, 84 in Fresno, even more in the lower 70s, 85 in Los Angeles, and we've got 97 to the east of us in Phoenix. And it's all because of this ridge that's going to be building on here the next few days. And you can see the storm track is going to remain well to the north. So we are going to see some gusty winds. We have a wind advisory until 11 o'clock tonight in the mountains. With this ridge of high pressure building on in, we will continue to warm things up, and I see no rain in our future, at least the next 10 days. Take a look at the national picture. We are tracking some severe weather, though. and down to the southeast. Parts of Alabama, Georgia, and now the Carolinas are under the gun for some severe weather. We will continue to see this push north and east today, and the red and the yellow you're seeing there are severe thunderstorms. We could see some tornado activity as well. So that's really the hot spot today. Temperatures were only at 49 in Seattle today, 62 in Denver, Chicago at 64, and a hot day down in Miami with 90. Here at home, we're not looking at 90s yet. 83 in Bakersfield, 85 in Delano, 81 in Taft, and Maricopa at 80. For the mountains, we talked about those winds. 68 in Frazier Park today, 68 as well in Tehachapi, and near 80 in the Kern River Valley, 77 for Lake Isabella. Sunny and warm out in the desert, 80 in Mojave with 88 out of Ridgecrest, possibly even hitting 90. The extended forecast here for us, 87 tomorrow, 90 on Saturday, a little bit of a cool down Sunday, Monday, but then right back up next Tuesday, Wednesday. By Wednesday, 96 degrees. For the mountains, plenty of sunshine here as well. Tomorrow, 74, 78 on Saturday, a little cool down Sunday, Monday, but then back into the 80s Tuesday, Wednesday. And then for the Kern River Valley, also going to be seeing a warm-up as we head into the weekend. By Saturday, we should be right at 86. So a warm-up definitely in place, so get ready for it. We've got more news coming your way right after the break.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
In your 17 Business Watch, comfort food wins during a global pandemic. Domino's says its U.S. same-store sales grew 7.1% in the first 4 weeks of its second quarter. It's a trend the pizza chain has experienced since the beginning of the coronavirus. Despite the positive news, Domino's withdrew its 2 to 3 year outlook, citing uncertainty surrounding the economy. And the New York Stock Market Exchange could start reopening after May 15th. That's from two sources who were on yesterday's conference call between CEO Michael Bulgari and NYSE employees. However, the sources say the timeline is not firm. They also say the reopening will be a step-by-step process. There will be fewer people on the trading floor, and traders will practice social distancing, and anyone entering the building will have to have their temperature checked. In March, to prevent that spread of coronavirus, the temporary closed. Since then, all trading has been done online. And 15 years ago today, the first video was uploaded to YouTube. That first video was titled Me at the Zoo. A lot has happened to the video sharing site since then. YouTube is now a huge part of the internet's lexicon. It garnishes billions of views every day and has millions of channels and subscribers. The most popular YouTube creators can even earn a livable income on the site. Stay with us. We're back after this. There have been many changes over the past month that has disrupted our daily lives and routines. Janet Miller, a licensed marriage and family therapist with the CSUB Counseling Center, explains how we can boost our mental health during this time.
Well, I think we have to begin to look at the just the movement that we've gone through. This has been a trauma. We look at that meaning places that we're helpless, that we don't know when we're going to get sick or we're not going to get sick. It can really create some of those, or recreate for some people who've had other traumas. Then the social isolation on top of that starts making us feel disconnected, which is, again, another part of a trauma. And the longer that's gone on, you're right, we were happy, we could be off for a little bit, it was only going to last 2 weeks, but nothing has prepared us. Even a hurricane comes, it leaves, it does its damage and it leaves. But this has been sustained. And as we're moving through the days and the hours, we're moving more into some of the grief that happens post-trauma, that things are not going to be the same. It's not going to be, it's bumping up against our American individuality, where we get to choose what happens to us.
No.
And we're having to do collective groupthink. So I think a lot of our advice is to recognize where we are. We have to practice radical acceptance of certain things, that right now we're going to be this way for a while.
Now, since the weather's been nice lately, do you suggest getting active and going outside and trying to get your heart rate up?
I do. All those things are really good for your mental health. Be outside, do some jumping jacks, do some morning yoga, get your sunscreen on, go for a walk. The more your lungs are moving, the healthier they are. The vitamin D and the heat is going to help protect us in some ways, they say. But it's really good for your mental health to be out. Take your dog for a walk, take your neighbor's dog for a walk, visit somebody from a safe distance. Those things are really good for us right now.
Now, we do have Governor Gavin Newsom. He's providing an update to the state's response on the coronavirus here in California. Let's take it over to him and hear what he has to say.
And a commitment that we have received in partnership with a number of other states led by the extraordinary leadership of J.B. Pritzker, my friend, the governor of Illinois. 21 out of the 24 largest student loan servicers in the state of California have agreed to a 90-day forbearance on student loan debt, impacting over 1.1 million Californians with loan debt. No burden now placed on them over the next 90 days, no impact to their credit rating, no late fees or fines, and actual support in terms of getting new payment plans in place for future processing. I want to, again, just congratulate JB on his leadership on organizing this framework, profoundly important to student loan borrowers in the state of California. And I want to just applaud those 21 of those 24 service loan providers or servicers for their willingness to step up and help support those that are struggling to pay their student loan debts. The second debt-related announcement I wanted to make was in relationship to the CARES Act. Many of you have received checks from the CARES Act, some individuals receiving $1,200 checks, those with children, additional $500 contributions. But a lot of those checks, if you had debt, were garnished by debt collectors. I just signed an executive order, quite literally moments ago, where that no longer will be the case. The executive order denies the ability for debt collectors to garnish your CARES Act dollars. It's also retroactive. So if you're a debt collector and you did garnish those contributions, those checks, you got to give them back. And so that is effective immediately. And I want to just thank my legal team for organizing that framework over the last few days. We have been putting together that executive order and advancing a principle that I think is appropriate under the economic circumstance, and that is the nature of this emergency and crisis for individuals and families. Now is not the time to garnish those emergency contribution checks. There is a caveat, however, because we have a family-first focus. If you owe child care, if you owe spousal support, this does not apply to you. And if you are an individual that receives a check but has a responsibility to a victim or a victim's account, that will continue as well. But for everyone else, no debt collector can take those direct payments any longer in the state of California. And we are assured that you will be able to claw back any of those contributions from the feds that perhaps have been taken away by those same debt collectors. So student loans, some relief, at least over the next 90 days for borrowers, 1.1 million in the state of California, and all of those that have debt that are attached to the CARES Act. We hope this provides that second announcement some relief as well. Also want to express my debt of gratitude to a group of doctors that moments ago, at noon today, just took off from the state of California, flying into LaGuardia tonight. 14 doctors working in partnership with an organization of physicians, of physician groups from the CMA to Vituity, a group that organizes physicians. They're joining these 14 doctors, 2 doctors from UC Davis that are already in New York to work with the city of New York and their hospital and health system. Dr. Mitch Katz, who may be familiar to some of us out here in the state of California, used to run the health care system down in Los Angeles, formerly in the city of San Francisco. He runs it for the largest healthcare delivery system in our country, at least subnationally, and that's the city of New York. We are working in partnership with him. Mark Galley, who knows Mitch very well, helped organize this partnership and this collaboration. So 16 doctors leaving today, or at least joining 14 leaving today, that will arrive tonight to help support for a 2-week period the needs of our fellow Americans in New York City. I just want to express my, again, deep gratitude and debt of gratitude to their willingness to really meet this moment in a profound and significant way. I want to also just extend a gratitude. It hasn't been highlighted. I wanted to make sure it was, that UCSF had already sent 20 doctors and nurses for a similar purpose. So state of California, 36 doctors and nurses are now deployed into New York. And again, it's the spirit of our times, the spirit of this moment. And for those that may be dispirited by it, saying, no, wait, we need those doctors and nurses, let me remind you of the announcement we made yesterday to actually pull back on our stay-at-home orders and allow scheduled surgeries to once again go into effect, or at least be performed in our healthcare delivery system and our hospital system, because of the work we have done to decompress the system, increase the total supply of alternative care sites so we can meet our needs and meet a potential surge into the future. One of the great benefits of these doctors going out onto the front lines in New York is what they'll bring back, which is a deep understanding and knowledge of what's happening in the most acute point of the crisis in this country, and being able to bring that to bear here in the state of California. So this is an incredible opportunity for all of us in California, not just the generosity of these individuals to another state. And so again, this is a wonderful thing, and I'm very proud and pleased to make this announcement today on behalf of those doctors, on behalf of those systems and those provider groups, and just again express my gratitude. It's 2 weeks and then 2 weeks of quarantine, so it's a 1-month sacrifice of these individuals. That's a big deal, and again, we thank them. I also want to just thank, yesterday announced that the president was extending support for new swabs to get more specimens, to increase our testing capacity. We got word today that 100,000 swabs that he committed this week, 90,000 are arriving, and we'll start to distribute them in the next day or so. That's very encouraging. I know it's not the 100,000, but they told me they'll make up for that 10,000 next week when the 250,000 arrives. So conversation, commitment, promise made, promise kept, 90,000 on the way, be distributed tomorrow. I also want to just extend, in terms of numerical considerations and numbers.
Now, you just heard the latest from Governor Gavin Newsom, and he's providing an update to the state's response on the coronavirus. Now, yesterday, he mentioned that he had a discussion with Donald Trump, who said that they would be sending 100,000 swabs to California. He said in the next day or two, they will receive 90,000. That extra 10,000 will come then in the next week, when we should receive another 250,000 swabs. Now, that is for individuals. That means 100,000 swabs means 100,000 people can get tested for coronavirus. And you can continue watching the governor's whole live stream on our Facebook page.
This is 17 News with continuing coronavirus coverage.